I think that that's really what excites me about going out every day and telling the Huss story with our team out there, is because we know what our identity is.
Yeah.
It's very clearly defined for us.
Yep.
And the fact that we can go out there and people know that when you drink a Huss beer, this is what you're going to get.
Welcome to TapThatAZ, the podcast that brings you the fascinating stories behind the exploding Arizona craft beer scene directly from the people who are making it happen. I'm your host, Eric Walters. In this episode, I sit down with Jeff, Leah, and Chip from Huss Brewing Company. We talk about brewing beer with an NFL football player and the importance of finding your identity as a brewery. Grab a drink, and let's tap into Huss Brewing Company. All right, so I'm here at Huss. We're at the Uptown location.
Uptown Plaza.
Right?
Uptown Plaza.
I'm with Jeff and Leah Huss and Chip.
Yes.
Guys.
Minister.
Thanks
The
for
Minister
joining me.
of all craft beer.
Is that,
Minister of
is
all
that on your
things
business
craft.
card?
It is on my business card.
Yeah,
Oh,
Minister
official.
of all craft beer?
Not all, but we're going to add that when I get promoted.
Yeah, okay.
Looking
Gotcha.
forward to it.
So, the story of this place, why did you guys decide to open up a brewery?
So the original brewery we decided to open because both of us worked in the beer industry.
Okay.
I was 7 years into it when I met my husband, and he was applying for a job in Phoenix. Got a job as a brewer for BJ's, and I don't know how many years were we together before.
Didn't he apply a job with you?
Oh yes, he did apply for a
He
job.
tried to apply
with
for a
me.
job and she didn't hire him.
No, I did
Oh,
not.
really? Why not? What was it? Have you ever
I
shared
just
that
didn't
with
need
them?
anybody. I mean, there was
She
not.
was saving him.
Yeah.
Be the truth be told.
As
Yeah.
He's like, I'm
as I
not going to be
say.
able to date him if
Yeah, I
I
couldn't
free
have
rent
dated
for
him.
me.
Ah, okay. Very strategic, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was hired on down at BJ's in Chandler.
Okay.
I was there for, I think, 7.5 years.
All right.
I was a head brewer the majority of the time there.
Okay.
So
As soon as we found out that we were having our daughter, we decided that we kind of needed to put down roots, kind
Okay.
of develop a legacy for our family. We knew we were going to stay in Arizona and we were going to be here, and we wanted to really put both feet on the ground and plant ourselves
Yeah.
here in the industry. So,
And I think it's really exciting from a standpoint of what's been happening with Arizona craft beer. And I think, Leah, for you, one of the things that I've known Jeff and Leah for a long time before I even started joining them and working with them. But she was such a pioneer working at Papago Brewing Company. As a whole, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Really, Papago as itself, when it started in 2001, was the only place, wasn't
yeah,
it?
it was a bit of a unicorn. It really, I was just talking to someone about this last night. When we first opened our cooler doors, they weren't filled to the gills, and we always claimed the 450 bottled beers, but there were days where I had things in there, like I remember, and I wish that I remember the name of the beer, but it was like a 40-ounce can with a Rottweiler on the front.
Yeah.
So-
Wow.
The name is irrelevant at this point. Yeah.
You're right. And we
Yeah.
did carry Mickey's Big Mouths for
Oh,
years
okay,
and
yeah.
things, but the cooler was full with a lot of imports.
Okay,
And
yeah.
so American craft beer in Arizona was kind of few and far between. And then when Bruce and CB started Little Guy Distributing and started bringing in some of the better known brands from across the United States, that's when things really started happening
Okay.
here in Arizona for craft beer.
This was
And
early 2000s, you
it
said,
was,
right?
yeah.
Okay,
So we were open in 2001, and our motto, which we got a cease and desist on, was "No crap on tap," because
Really?
it belonged
Why?
it belonged to Flying Saucers, but also Chris Black out of Denver uses it at Falling Rock, and he's actually the one who
It's funny because everybody uses it now, and they just gave up trying to enforce
they
it.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but back then they did.
Yeah.
Everybody uses it.
Oh yeah,
now.
we got cease and desist letters from Flying Saucer chain, and that we couldn't use how they knew we were even printing that on our menus is beyond
Right.
me. Just
Yeah.
some teeny beer bar in Scottsdale,
Right.
So, but yeah, it was, and there were people. In fact, there's a really amazing couple that were just here in Uptown last weekend that live up in like the Jerome area, and
Okay.
they would come down and drink at Papago on the weekends and get growlers of beer and 6-packs and things because there was not really anywhere else to go in the state to sit down and drink craft beer.
Yeah.
And that's when Orange Blossom was born, right?
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was a beer.
The big guy called Orange Blossom.
Yes, there was a beer that we were having a lot of success with back then called Burt Grant's Mandarin Wheat, and Burt Grant's went out of business, and so we kind of thought, this is so silly. Why couldn't we have this beer or an inclination of it of our own? And we sat down and did some tastings with different measurements of vanilla and orange, and kind of put the two together in a filtered American wheat beer, and henceforth came the Papago Orange Blossom, and it kind of is a monster in and of itself. People just love it, and it's very Arizona, and it is, and it's iconic to Arizona, and it's people really identify and love it.
Something that's crazy about it that a lot of people may or may not realize. We realized it a couple of years ago, but that Orange Blossom is actually the #2 biggest selling Arizona-made beer.
Really?
Behind only Kill Lifter.
Wow.
Which is pretty crazy.
That is really crazy.
If you think about the amount of beers that are sold in grocery stores and whatnot.
Yeah.
And that's been, it's been around. It's been around since 2005 was, I think, the first time Papago brewed it. And with that, so Leah's, had a connection to Arizona craft beer. And I think it really kind of all connects to what happened with Huss and how this whole thing started. And it all kind of goes backwards, even though Huss was still just a little dream, little twinkle in your eye, if you will. Back then, it's now, it's come. It was all kind of, this is all part of the pieces of the puzzle that were happening.
I love this beer too. So I usually, when I come here, I find your guys' beers. I usually go for, I love the blonde, Magic in the Ivy. That's my other favorite. But my wife loves the Orange Blossom. And every time she's like, here, because it's so funny. When we go to a place, she doesn't want people to think that she's not drinking it. So she's like, hey, take a drink. And a lot of stuff she gets, I'm like, I can't. I'm like, I don't want to drink that. But when she has this, I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I'll pound like half of it.
I don't know whether I should feel old or be like, it makes my heart happy, but some young girl told me the other day that she loved the Orange Blossom. It's the first beer that she ever had when she turned 21. And she was not newly 21.
Right.
But, yeah. So,
Yeah.
Yes. But it is kind of cool to hear, people coming up, and that's...
Because they're growing up with it now.
Yeah.
And that's what's so, the biggest thing as we in Arizona, we're trying to catch up to the rest of these country where these hot spots for the San Diego, Portland, Pacific Northwest, Colorado, Vermont.
Yeah.
As we're trying to get there, it means that we have to have our people that live here grow up on some of these things.
Right.
Yeah.
And the fact that you start hearing stories like that, and a lot of people say, yeah, Kill Lifter was my first beer, and now the fact people, Orange Blossom is their first, and now we hear people talk about Scottsdale Blonde all the time being their favorite. They love this beer, and they connect to it.
Yeah.
It's just such a local thing. That to me, I think, is the most exciting. I know Jeff and Leah, you guys, we talk about it all the time.
Yep.
But that's just pretty cool to see.
Like
Jeff's
how
too
iconic
humble
it is.
to acknowledge. He's just like...
Were you the creator of it? Were you the,
Of the orange?
Is he the, yeah.
No, the Orange Blossom was already figured out long
It was
before
around
I
before you
even
were
moved
here.
to the state.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
We have been making it for close to 4 years now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
But you came up with, I think, really, you came up with Scottsdale Blonde, everything else.
Yeah.
Whereas Jeff's recipes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when
Everything
we get
else
to
is
coffee
vanilla for
Kolsch,
sure.
which definitely, have you tried the coffee Kolsch?
I have not. Is that the, the coffee
tried that
Kolsch? Oh, I
one.
love the coffee
I think
Kolsch,
it's
yeah.
the far right
The
there.
far,
Yeah.
the far right. Smell
I don't
that
know
one
how I
first.
forgot about that one. I love this one.
Yeah, that beer is crazy cool.
It's, so the first time I had this one, I was going to a team builder. So I'm like, I was super early. I'm like, I'm stopping for a beer somewhere, right? So I go into a place, I can't remember what it was called. It's on University. And I'm looking, and the guy's like, you got to try the coffee Kolsch. I'm like, I like coffee beers. I think stouts, porters, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not quite ready for that. I'm going to
Yeah.
a team builder. It's like 11 o'clock, and he's like, dude, just try it. And I tried it, and this is phenomenal. It's a blend that you never see.
Right.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
That's totally why I wanted it too.
Yeah.
That was before we even opened our doors. I already knew that there were some beers that we wanted to add to the portfolio. That one took a little bit more time than the rest of them did, but I wanted something that was going to be lighter in color that would really knock people's socks off.
Yeah.
Something that was totally unexpected.
Yeah.
And like you said, everybody when they think about a coffee beer thinks thinks porter or stout.
Right.
And the fact that you've got a light colored beer that's it's a German, it's a Colt. How did you? Yeah, I mean, without giving away secrets, because we're literally gonna have to shut this whole broadcast down.
Yeah.
If
Like,
he starts
what the hell
talking
were
too
you
much. How did
thinking,
you? Like you kind of came up with this idea. Like all of a sudden they'll just hear that emergency broadcast system. It's over.
Of course.
Like,
We're out of here. Sorry.
It's real coffee. And we do a cold steep with it. So
Okay.
we don't use any extracts in it or anything. It's the real deal. So
Jeff is not he's pretty much a beer purist.
Okay.
So any of the stuff that is a little off is kind of him stepping out of his wheelhouse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like this one, and what else? Like what else would be?
Well, like even the raspberry. I mean,
Right,
that one,
okay.
you know, we're proud to use
That's our newest one. You should try that
100%
one.
real
It's
fruit
tasty.
in
It's
It's
that.
a raspberry wheat.
Raspberry
Yes,
wheat.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's an
it's
American.
a raspberry puree. That we use
It's a real raspberry
natural
puree. It's good,
raspberries.
right?
It is.
Yeah.
Like the taste in these things, like I think I've had the Coconut Joe, the Coffee Kolsch, the things that you guys add into them,
It's
the
real.
flavors are real
Yeah,
pronounced.
totally.
But it's a good balance, though.
Yeah.
It's
It's
not like
subtle.
I'm drinking cranberry juice.
Right.
It's like, this is beer.
We very
There's cranberry
intentionally
in it.
do that too, and I think that that's like a a mixture of between my culinary background, but his, purism. We don't want a beer that is just like it's too much, it's
Right.
overdone.
Yeah.
It needs to all be, and it's hard to do. I mean, the rice pudding porter, our winter seasonal, those spices, getting those spices right, because we didn't do any test batches. I mean, and we never do test batches. It's 30 barrels of beer out the box, like full committal,
Yeah. Guns a
And it
blazing.
seems like it works out.
A lot of those we never even changed.
Uh-huh.
The blonde never changed. Sorry. The blonde never changed. Actually, you know what? I don't think we really hardly tweaked many of them at all.
Okay. You mean
Rasp-
since the initial time?
Yeah.
You made it?
The Magic and the Ivy is original. The raspberry is original.
And that's 4 years this year. But you always had that saying you were telling me. What was that about adding things? Spices and flavors?
My old boss taught me something that I'll never forget. At BJ's, he said, figure out what the absolute minimum amount of flavoring, like spices like cinnamon or whatever you're using for a beer, figure out the absolute minimum that you think you need, and then divide that in half.
Wow.
And that'll be more than enough.
Yeah.
And I think it's so cool because
work.
so many things, especially when you found on the shelves today, they're so in your face, cloying, overly sweet, overly just whatever.
Right.
The chili beers are just too much. It's like I'm eating a fresh jalapeno.
Right.
It's just too much.
Right.
When all of these things are supposed to be about the beer, and when I think these add-ons or anything like these flavors, they should just be. What do you think, John? I mean, just more like just a nuance, just giving it a little bit of something to
Don't
it.
forget that people are drinking beer.
Beer first.
And that's
Yeah.
what they're actually going after. I mean, if they wanted, as you said, cranberry juice, they could just go buy cranberry juice.
Right. Yeah.
Put a little vodka in it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that makes me really be proud to be a part of this team because I think that we really, are. Every brewery has to kind of find itself and find its identity.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really what excites me about going out every day and telling the Huss story with our team out there is because we know what our identity is.
Yeah.
It's very clearly defined for us.
Yep.
And the fact that we can go out there and people know that when you drink a Huss beer, this is what you're going to get.
Yeah.
So when we released the raspberry wheat a few weeks ago, everybody that was clamoring to come get it, which has been crazy, they all knew they weren't going to get some big sugar bomb that was just pure raspberry jam.
Right.
They knew they were going to get really tasty, crisp, delicious beer with just the right amount nuance of that fresh raspberry.
Yeah.
That it was just, it is what it is. I mean, I was just out the other night. And I just had just one after VB Lounge, and I just kept drinking. I was like raspberry
they're
wheat.
so
Normally I
good.
drink blonde or Magic in the Ivy if they
Yeah,
haven't.
okay.
But yeah, that was funny. I love the beer. It's
I
great.
do too.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And you guys did a collaboration with the Red Swole. That was a
Yeah.
collaboration with the Arizona Cardinals guy,
Yeah.
right?
Jared Valdir?
Yeah. He's a little guy, right?
Great
Just a
human.
little
And
itty
he's
bitty
so
guy.
teeny.
Little guy.
Just
Yeah.
a itty bitty guy.
He came in and made that batch of beer with me, and my guys were staring at me afterwards saying, we thought you were big.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
He is a massive human, but he
Yeah.
is very kind. He's a good guy.
So Jared was a biology major in college and has gotten really into home brewing since. And is just, for lack of better terms, just a big beer geek, basically. And so I don't know how it got set up. I think Chip set
Reached
it up.
out, reached out and kind of went back
and
and forth.
Because he was known as a
home brewer.
Like he won. Has won.
Oh, yeah, he's
Won,
really good.
won medals, etc. Yeah.
Yep.
It's hysterical because I want to talk to him about football and he wants to talk to me about beer. So like, it's just beer. You play football.
Right. Yeah.
So the beer idea was, I mean, how did you guys come up with the red? I know how the name came about. I'll talk about that, but the beer.
He, I think, just generally likes to drink large beers. And so for Arizona Cardinals, I think we decided to go with a red and an Imperial IPA, just because he's a big guy who drinks big beers.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's fun to make those big beers every once in a while. And
What's that weighing in it? Because you guys use a lot of different hops in it. Remember we were talking about that?
Yeah.
That was what I thought was so cool about the recipe. Can you remember what hops you put in there? Because there was a lot.
Barely, but yeah, we had a lot of the really good ones. We had Citra, Mosaic, Galaxy.
Okay.
Vic Secret.
Yeah, a little bit of Vic Secret in there. A lot of the sought-after hops we were able to get a hold of on the spot market.
What was cool is that he was, he kind of let you know what he likes to use, and you're like, oh yeah, got that, which was rare for us to have.
But you guys were both on the same page as to what.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then it came in weighing in at 8.5%,
8.3,
roughly.
something like
yep,
that,
and 102 IBUs. So it was definitely a big beer for a big guy, and it's been one of those that's just, again, collaborations. It's cool. I think it was unique to a lot of people just do collaborations between breweries, or restaurants, to be able to do it with a big iconic person that is beloved by the whole city and the valley.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's fantastic too. Once again, great balance. Like
Well,
you've got it's Imperial, but this I think I went to the shop. I did an interview with the shop, and they had the Fightem.
Yeah.
And in the description was sneaky, I think.
Yeah.
This is sneaky too. Yeah. Because like two of these, and you're like, oh, okay.
That
yeah.
Rochambeau, the double IPA, that one is. Do we have one of those?
That one not right
Oh, my
here,
Lord.
but yeah, that one's
That one
sneaky
is
for
so
sure.
Okay.
sneaky,
Yeah.
and it's so good, and it's disastrous for me.
And what I like about, with the way, and this I think is another testament to Jeff and how he brews beer. And I know he hates this when I talk about this because he's like always like, stop talking about me. If he had his way, he would just leave him alone and leave him in the brewery, and he would never ever have a microphone in front of him like he does right now.
He's very nervous. I can
Thank
see.
God,
Yeah.
You'll note he's
Boss
not
like
a big
said.
talker.
He's doing great. You're doing great.
But one thing that I noticed, and Jared and I actually were talking about this, when you start getting with those big beers, and I don't know, Jeff, you can maybe explain why. When you start getting with those big IPAs like that, a lot of those doubles can tend to be very sweet. And what I really like about this is a lot drier, and you guys were able to pull that off, even while still getting that ABV and gravity up there. How did you guys pull that off, or is that something on purpose?
Yeah, we tried to get this as dry as we could, kind of get as much juice out of it as possible, basically, out of the grains. So you come in at much lower temperatures, and that converts a lot more of the sugars into fermentable sugars.
Okay.
So that is, if you want a sweeter beer, you come in a little hotter and a little bit faster. If you want a beer that's nowhere near as sweet, then you'll come in a little bit cooler and a little bit more drawn out.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Sorry,
pretty cool.
the man over there.
The what?
The man.
Mr. Colangelo. So for us, I think it was, from the beer standpoint, and as you can tell, we've been talking about the beer ever since we've been starting this chat. But I know for us and Jeff and Leah, we always talk about this. It is 100% all about the beer.
Yeah.
We have this funny little campaign going like, "What's all the Huss about?"
Yeah.
And it really is. It's all about the beer. I think. Didn't you say? I mean,
Everything it's all about the beer. I mean, all about us, the family. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, and really all about her. I guess is realistically.
The real
it's
boss.
all about Lola.
The real boss.
The real boss.
Lola, want to say hi? Does she want to say
Lola,
hi?
would you like to say hello? No.
no, you got to come over here.
You got to talk to the mic. Your dad's talking into the mic, so now you have to. So, what's it like when your parents have a brewery?
It's
you
really
like it?
fun to hang out
Yeah?
because it's a brand new Brewery, and I really like it.
Do you like the sodas?
Yeah.
Can you tell them
yeah,
about the
Lola
sodas?
She's got Lola sodas on tap.
Do you really have your own soda on
Yes.
tap?
Talk about your soda.
Yes.
Did you and
Okay.
Dad brew it together?
Nice.
Yeah.
You did?
You got 4 different kinds. Do you remember what the kinds are?
Lemon, blueberry, blood orange, and watermelon.
Wow.
Good job.
I have
job.
a 3-year-old daughter and a 5-year-old daughter. They would love that.
They would love your
Yes.
sodas, huh?
I should bring them next time, huh?
You should. They
Yeah.
did Daddy-Daughter Brew Day for the sodas.
Nice.
And then we do them, they're like old school soda fountain, real fruit purees that we
wow.
pump in.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
so-
really cool. That's something, and that's, we were talking about this before we started recording, was the feeling of a brewery, right? Family, you said you had a friend that brought a newborn baby
Yep.
in, right? And
Yep.
that's, if you bring a newborn baby into the bottled blonde, like we're talking about.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, probably get arrested, yeah. But, and you should.
probably
and
would,
You should.
and should,
Yeah,
yes.
But these breweries just have such a great
Yes.
feel about them, and,
Yeah.
it's a family place.
Absolutely.
It is.
Family culture. And, that was when we first set out to find a space in Central Phoenix. Jeff and I spend quite a bit of time over here. We have a ton of friends in the neighborhood, and we really wanted something over here.
Okay.
And to be more centrally located, but to create something for families and a community gathering space. Both of us are from Illinois, and I think that there's a huge difference in, and especially, not just Illinois to Arizona, obviously, but I think the great beer cities, those cultures really transcend and they pull neighborhoods together. I mean, and they really do set places for people to go in and spend time together. And I fought these guys over having TVs in here. Clearly, I didn't win.
Yeah, you didn't want the TVs?
No,
Yeah,
because
okay,
I
yeah.
think that you should be able to go into a place and talk to people. I think
Yeah.
people get away from that, and more so now than ever with phones and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy to pick your phone up instead of talk to somebody you don't know next to you.
Right.
So we have a lot of community tables here, and we ended up sitting with a couple and their daughter last night that were the same. She was the same age as Lola, and and you end up engaging,
Yeah.
and then that's kind of we need to bring that back, more community interaction.
Yeah, and it makes sense, like family. I mean, it's first of all, it's about your guys' family,
Right. Yep.
But it also then is the family of Huss.
Absolutely.
And then even bigger, Arizona beer.
Yeah.
Right, because that's one thing I've gained from doing the show is the Arizona craft community is awesome. Like it is. I'm 38 and I never knew what I wanted to do until I started doing this. I'm like, all right, I want to work in craft beer. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's such a great
Great people,
It
for
is,
sure.
yeah.
And I think you could say that about the craft beer industry in general across
Yeah.
the nation. It's small. It's a lot smaller than people think. I mean, yes, there's a lot of people in it now, more so than ever, but
Yeah.
a lot of people know each other. I mean, it's I'm sorry. He's essentially taking a bath.
Yeah, we got somebody outside the window here on the faucet taking a bath and he's getting some water. I'll give him that. but,
Listen, for sure.
yeah, I take it he doesn't work for you guys?
No, we don't know him.
No.
It's fine.
It's fine.
So Lola's thing was she loves the new place.
Yes.
So this is only open in April?
Yeah, so we've
Okay.
only been open for
Mid-April.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, it's only 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Okay. This place is great. I'm
Thank you.
kind of ashamed to say I've never been to the actual brewery. And I've worked there for like 10 years, like University of Phoenix, right there. I know. And I wanted to go there so many times for lunch, but it just never worked out because I
Oh
think you guys
my
opened at 3
gosh.
or
And for those that don't know, so the brewery itself, where everything started,
Yeah.
that is located right off of Priest and Elliott.
Yeah.
As you just said over there where University of Phoenix used to be.
Yeah.
And then this new tap room where we're sitting now, we just opened up about 2.5 months ago. This is on Central and Camelback.
Yeah.
So one of the big things that we wanted to do, and I know Jeff and Leah, if you want to talk about it, was why did you want a flagship location to kind of showcase who we are, because the other one's kind of
Right. So it actually took us 2 years to find our Tempe location because there were things very specific to our needs.
keep going.
There were things that were very specific to our needs that we were looking for, ceiling height, whatnot, because we always knew that we were coming in with a production facility.
Yeah.
And so you can't take a 30-barrel production brewery and put it into an old historic building like we would have loved to.
Right,
It
right.
just was not really something that was going to work for our needs. And so
Okay.
the brewery and the tap room down in Tempe just ended up being what it is, which was a destination, and we're
Yeah.
super proud of it. Our little teeny tap room down there.
We got just about all the tables off of Craigslist. And
We
All
did. Oh
these?
yeah, no, not
No,
these down
oh,
there.
okay,
I bought
gotcha,
all the
yeah.
tables off Craigslist.
Yeah.
And we painted them, and we rolled the floors ourselves, and Jeff made the bar, the concrete bar, and so it definitely was a labor of love. But as we were growing, we realized that people didn't know really who Huss was.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
we figured out pretty quickly we needed to have a flagship place for people to come to that, wasn't so far out of the way.
Yeah.
Down south of Guadalupe there.
Yeah.
It's
This
a
is a great
showroom,
location,
right?
too.
Showcase.
Yeah, showcase for
This
us,
is the showroom here?
It
This
is.
is the showroom. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful showroom. Yeah.
Thank
The
you.
face, and you can find all of our beers, in grocery stores, from Fry's, Albertson, Safeway, convenience stores like Circle K, Quick Trip, to 1,000 different little bars and restaurants all
Yeah.
over, which is cool. But being able to have a place that people can come and, like you said, that we can do what? It's all about the beer, but we got this great little food menu.
Right.
That, you can see what kind of items we have for like food.
We had the roast beef sliders last night, which were amazingly
nice.
delicious.
Those
And the
jalapeno
poppers.
poppers are so good.
Jeff just
I
wants
just saw
like
those
10
ones, yeah.
orders of
Yeah.
poppers.
He
That's
loves the poppers. But what's so cool? Remember when we talked about doing sliders and we were doing the menu meeting?
Yeah.
And Leah specifically, because everybody does what with sliders?
well, just the standard burgers, or
Yeah.
Same old, same old.
chicken
This is
or
where your
whatever.
culinary background comes in.
Yeah.
We want to do a little
Yeah.
something, that caprese one for people that don't eat meat.
Yeah.
Is a really great one.
Ooh, wow, that's
with that.
interesting. Yeah.
And but yeah, that roast beef one's mine.
It's so
It's just
good.
so good.
So good.
You green chili pork? Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that's-
green chili pork's probably the most popular.
Yeah.
I still haven't had it outside of our original
Yeah, it's
tasting.
delicious.
I know
that
we
one.
need to get those.
And then Leah's got her deviled eggs recipe on there. So again, this is
You don't see those very often.
you
love
know,
deviled
we're bringing
eggs.
them back. And then
Yeah.
think about chips and dip with like a French onion dip.
Yeah.
This again, I think, goes back to
It's like so classic. It's like every time that we had people over growing up, or like now still I do it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like the old throwback 70s chips and dip.
Heck yeah,
But
I
people
love it.
love chips and French onion dip.
Yes.
You know?
And deviled eggs.
And
That's
double
what people-
eggs.
Yeah, that's a
I know.
Midwest thing.
it really is
Yeah.
for people
Ohio,
coming to
totally.
their house.
Yeah.
And that this is Leah
Yep. Yep.
putting up some snacks for everybody to have a beer,
Yep.
sit back, relax, and eat what they would if you were visiting the Husses.
Right.
By the way, everybody's invited to the Husses.
Yeah. What's the address again?
No.
When I moved out to Arizona, that was the biggest shock to me. Was like, okay, I moved out here, didn't have a job, I had like $700. That didn't matter to me.
I also moved with $700.
Did you
Look
really?
at us.
Nice,
Yes.
nice. And we did it. Look,
Yes, we did.
we did it. We are here. We've made it. Yeah. So the biggest disappointment for me was like, all right, I'm gonna get some Lay's potato chips and hell of a good French onion dip. I don't know if you guys had that in Illinois. There was a brand in Ohio. Did you have that?
No.
Hell of a good?
No.
Oh,
No.
it was hell of a good, like a perfect
Stop.
name. Yes.
Oh my
so I was
God.
like my face got white, and I'm like, they don't have. I might move back. Like I might move back to Ohio because they don't have
They
hell of a
don't
good.
have hell of a
Yeah.
good.
But there's been a couple that have kind of, but just not the same. Yeah.
Ours is pretty good. It's we freshened it up a little bit with some chives and things like that.
Churched it up.
Churched it up.
Churched it up,
Churched
as
it
they
up,
say.
huh?
Hussed it up.
Yeah,
little
the
bit.
beer, food, the neighborhood, overall, we're having such a good time.
Yeah.
We're really fortunate, and I think none of us take it for granted
For sure.
about the success that we're having right now. We don't go a day without somebody go, oh, you guys are killing it out there. And, we're humble about it
Yeah.
because we realize that the reason that we're able to have the success right now, where people are enjoying our beers everywhere, is because people not only just dig our story, they dig the beer.
Right.
So it's really not about that. Our job, and I look at my job, is to try and get the beer in front of as many people
Uh-huh.
as possible.
Right.
And if we can do that and get our story out in
Yeah.
front of as many people as possible, the rest takes care of itself.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why we're able to, I think, do this. And as long as we keep doing that, he keeps making the beer like he does. I just out there, I look like a genius.
Right.
Works for me.
It's an easy sell, right? Yeah. Yeah.
I'm kidding. That's why I'm the minister of all craft beer.
Right,
Soon.
yeah.
Watch out.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, you guys did a women's collaboration beer?
Yeah,
Were you
so-
were a part of that?
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the ladies in beer here in Arizona, Billy McGovern, she and I were kind of talking, and she's like, we should come up with this women's collab, try and make it one of the biggest in the country. And so it's turned into something that we're doing annually, which is really amazing.
Okay.
So the first year we did it. Last year they took it to Tucson and did it. And next year I think that it's highly probable it'll end up at one of the breweries up north, which is just really cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Nice.
traveling and I don't know. It's just really neat to see. It was great for one of our sales reps who was brand new to the industry to take her
Yeah.
and to show her, how rad it is to get a bunch of chicks together
Yeah.
and get them all in the brewery doing, all the work. So, and there's some super talented women in beer in Arizona.
Yeah.
And, we were the original brewers, so we're kind of trying to take it back.
That's
if you
awesome.
will.
Right. What do you mean by that? The original brewers?
Women were the original brewers.
Ah,
Yes.
like history-wise,
Yes.
not like in
Yeah.
2001.
Yeah.
You're saying like
Yeah.
way back.
Oh, yeah,
Ah.
like way back in Mesopotamia.
Nice. Mesopotamia.
Yeah.
They had a really good tap room there, what I heard. Yeah. So what did you guys make the first year? Because I think the first time I had it was I went to Crooked Tooth in Tucson.
Red IPA, I believe.
I think it was, yeah.
And Melissa
She's so hot.
Osborne
Yep.
from, she's so hot. Melissa
Yep.
Osborne from Four Peaks.
Okay.
Was the
And
lead brewer
Christina.
on that one. And
Yeah.
Christina. Yep.
Yeah, and last year it was a double APA? You'd think I would remember that
Yeah.
one since
I
it was
think it
most
was,
recent.
yeah. For some reason, I can't remember the name of it. But
That was the one down in Tucson you guys did,
Yeah,
right?
that was called Lady Bird
Yeah.
IPA.
Yeah, yes.
State Bird IPA.
State Bird.
State Bird.
State Bird,
We were going
okay.
to do
State
Lady
Bird.
Bird. Sorry, they
Yeah.
switched the name.
Right,
Yes.
yeah.
Last minute.
Ben at Crooked Tooth suggested that. So I had with their skateboards. I don't know if you guys have been to Crooked
Uh-uh.
Tooth, but their tasters are skateboards.
Cool.
With wheels and everything. Now obviously
Cool.
they don't make the wheels move because that would be disastrous.
Yes.
But you got 5, right? So I picked 4, and I'm trying to figure out the other one, and he said State Bird.
Cool.
Yeah. So and it was fantastic.
Great.
So so maybe next year when you guys do it, maybe we can get you on the show and we can do the women's collaboration.
Yeah, for
episode.
sure. Like I said,
Exclusive,
it'll probably
right?
end up north.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty cool to do that. With maybe
be
get some of the
amazing.
ladies and talk about it. Because what it is to me is it's another testament to our evolution as a craft beer community.
Right.
And where we're going. These are the sort of things that have to happen. With in a community that's thriving and growing in craft. We can't all just keep our heads down and just do our own thing.
Yeah.
We have to make sure that we're pushing the envelope, doing things that the community can understand and get behind.
Yep.
And especially in a very male-dominated industry that brewing is, celebrating the what women bring to the table, and especially having a woman-owned brewery as part of that, and the others that are here from Historic with Carol Kennelly
Yeah.
and Billy McGovern, like I said, working from whether it be sales reps, brewers like Melissa Osborne, owners. There's so much that happens here with it. Believe me, half of these beers that Huss has would not exist if it wasn't for a woman, because he wouldn't do it.
Well, and that's huge
Just
for me
saying.
as far as Lola and
good
her
combo, right?
her future as our owner. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's kind of a. Despite her huge aspirations to be an Uber driver,
Is that her goal right now?
That's our goal right now.
Nice.
it changes.
She will
quickly.
not. She will not make you proud.
You can do it. You can do it. Yeah.
We're building this whole company for you, young lady.
The
I'm
Uber
gonna
driver,
drive
though,
an
right?
Uber.
Yeah.
You're gonna be an Uber driver. Be the Uber driver. Yeah. That's awesome.
Lord.
So, but no, you guys are doing great things here, and you guys do a lot of great things outside too. So I know Chip was just talking to me a little bit ago, and he's looking at his phone to see what time it is because he's got to get to the Orange Blossom Festival.
Yes, I
Yes.
sure
Right?
did.
Yeah, so you guys do a lot of events. Like you do the Orange Blossom Festivals today. You guys do a lot of stuff. There was a silent disco.
The silent disco is
coming up.
like my favorite thing ever.
Okay.
So that's every
Yes.
July at the Real Wild and Woody.
Okay.
Beer festival.
Yes, Beer Fest downtown, inside, air conditioned.
Yes.
So
Essential in July.
Yeah, I had someone ask me, it is air conditioned. Oh, sweet Doug Odell. He said to me, now I know y'all are crazy in Arizona, but is this festival actually indoors? I was like, yes.
Yes. Nope. Nope. Open field.
Yeah, no, we're doing the opposite of the upper Midwest with their winter beer fests.
Right. Yeah.
Like, we're going inside.
No, we
Open
are.
parking lot. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Uh-huh.
yes, so we do the silent
We
disco.
do that. We do a lot of stuff with running.
Yes.
Leah's a big avid trail runner.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's
So,
kind of my thing. So we work with the Aravaipa running community, which
Okay.
are phenomenal.
Craft Classic.
Yep. So we've got the Craft Classic
Which is
half
our
marathon
signature event.
coming up
What
with
is that?
Roadrunner Sports. So it's a half marathon and 5K,
Okay.
October 15th in Fountain Hills.
Gotcha.
So every person that
We just
crosses
did
the
the Ragnar,
finish
too.
line gets
Oh,
a
wow.
Scottsdale Blonde.
Nice.
Yeah, we did Ragnar Road this year. It is
Uh-huh.
my dream to have trail because that's kind of my big race.
Okay.
So yeah, so we are highly involved. That was kind of the community I grew up in. When I was little, my dad and mom always took us out, and Central Illinois does it up right after races. There's things like they're just grilling corn.
Yeah.
You know, like, so
Yeah,
that's...
Dad actually came out for the inaugural
did.
race. He flew out from Illinois
Yep.
Oh, nice.
to run in it. And the cool thing is with the winner, the men's winner and the women's winner won their weight in beer.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a
So,
great reward. You
yeah.
earn your beer,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Luckily, the
Yeah.
winners are always in
Yeah.
excellent shape.
Right.
Yeah, we're not giving away that much.
Right.
5-pound canyons.
Yeah, looking at them like, believe me, if Jared Valdir walked up, we'd be like, okay, we got a problem here, folks.
Right. Yeah.
All right, gotta do
our
350
beer on the
pounds
truck.
worth of beer. He just walks up with a big old smile on his face.
Yeah.
You gotta pay today.
I'm here to collect. Yeah. Yeah. So no, you guys are doing awesome. Well, I saw you. One last thing, the Crowler station. That's brand new too,
Yes.
right?
It is.
So that's a new thing that is like that's taken over for growlers, right?
Yes.
And you guys as brewers prefer Crowlers. Is that right?
I think if he had his way, he would prefer the cans.
Just
Yeah,
straight
I
up
would.
cans, 6-pack cans?
honestly,
Well, for the sake of...
it's nowhere near as wasteful
Okay. Yeah.
as the reality.
The
on it.
Crowler is not as- yeah.
And I mean, how many growlers do you have on top of your fridge right now?
Probably 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't.
And how
throw
many
them away,
pounds
but I
of
want
dust
to.
do those 12 have?
Yeah, exactly. I use like 2 of them.
The Crowler's cool, I think, because you can take home stuff that we aren't packaging. You know,
Okay.
so any of the beers like the raspberry wheat, the coconut
Yep.
joe that we're not putting into a package, you can get that. But you also, it's so not committal, you know, compared to a 64-ounce growler.
Right.
That 32 is you know,
two
that's
beers.
manageable. I know.
It's 2 beers.
very
It's
manageable.
fantastic. And
Right.
If you look at our sales here, with that, our number 1, 2 sellers are raspberry wheat, the coconut joe, the beers, like you said, that you can't buy in a 6-pack. Even though you can buy 6-packs here to go
Right.
of all 60 different of our beers.
Okay.
The fact that you can actually take something home in a sealable can. A lot of people don't realize that the Crowler itself is filled right on site, and then the metal top is put on, and the machine seals it, hermetically seals it, so it's a perfect seal.
Yeah.
So until you crack that big old can open, it's perfect. So I love them.
Yeah, I do too. Like I just started because I went somewhere and they had a beer that I really wanted, but I didn't have my growler. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, they had growlers. I'm like, oh, cool. So I'll
Yep,
get.
yeah.
And I won't go back. I don't think. I
know.
might actually throw the glass growlers away at this point. You know.
Recycle.
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 Yeah, throw them into the green or the
Yeah.
blue.
The blue
yeah,
one.
yeah.
And everybody's so outdoor oriented out here. So
Yeah.
now, you can't take a growler up on the Salt River going tubing.
Right.
You know, but now you can
Yeah.
actually take a growler and you can say, yeah,
Right.
now I don't have to, I can do anything along those lines. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, guys, come here, get a crowler, get their beers wherever you can. They're everywhere. I see them everywhere, and that's awesome. You guys are doing great stuff. So
Thank you.
thank you guys.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
thanks for keeping spreading the word about Arizona craft beer and
Yes.
craft beer in general out there.
Absolutely.
Keep 'em
Choose
drinking.
Easy Brews.
Yes.
There we go.
Thanks for listening. As always, if you're enjoying the show, help me spread Arizona beer to the world, right? That's the whole point of this, is getting us out there and making a name for ourselves. So tell somebody about it. Give me a rating and review on iTunes if you're feeling up to it. Either way, let's do what we can to get Arizona beer on the map. In the meantime, always remember, stay awesome.